The opinions and statements expressed in the following program do not necessarily reflect those of WWDB, its staff, or management.
All right, ladies and gentlemen around the Delaware Valley, welcome to the HealthBridge Highlight Hour. I'm your co-host, Joe Dougherty. I'm ecstatic to bring in my co-host, Dr. Matt Marcus. How are you, sir?
Joe, good to see you again.
It's good to see you as well, sir. We are setting the bar high. Last show we had Connor Barwin and some Clancy, and here's the thing. We've got a great guest, but there's a lot of pressure on this guy, man. And by the way, before we introduce him, let me give a little, huge Philadelphia sports fan. Massive. Oh, I'm sorry, I blew that one. I'm a little off. That's his beautiful wife. That's the Philadelphia sports. So if you will, introduce our guest, and then we'll get into that.
Yeah, my guest today here is Matthew Breslin of Rodden Breslin. I've known Matthew for quite a few years. He's an outstanding personal injury attorney, gets amazing results for his clients, and also not a bad golfer, Joe. Not a bad golfer. On a good day, not bad.
Okay. Well, this is a big...
I'm a great scramble partner. Right?
Fantastic.
Well, this is a big week because it's Masters Week, right?
That's right.
And so, are you a big golf fan?
I do like golf, yeah.
I'm I'm a massive football fan, and I'm getting back into the Phillies because they got a dynamic team, and that's cool. Not going everything that is wood. Unfortunately, when it comes to I like golf on Sunday at about 4:30, right when they're coming up the last freeway, and the NCAA. I didn't watch a lot of college basketball, but I did watch the NCAA championship the other night, and man, oh man. But certainly a big sportsman. We'll get into you're originally from...
Originally from Boston. I went to St. Joe's University, which is what brought me here to the Philadelphia area, met my wife, and went back to law school in Boston. But now I'm happy to be here and consider myself a transplant, but certainly a proud Philadelphian now.
And we're working on his...
allegiance
to the Philadelphia sports teams. And he's doing a good job.
You know what's funny, Dr. Marcus? It's a hard thing though. I don't know if I could, you can move me to Mars, man. And I just don't see me, leaving, my roots as an Eagles fan. I don't, and I imagine it's the same way, right?
The same way, as hard as I try, to go and enjoy the games and root on the team, it's always tough, but I'll always be a Patriots fan. As I was telling you before we hopped on air, huge Red Sox fan. I began, that was my first job in high school. I was 14. After high school, got out, I'd take the subway to Fenway Park. I'd work till the 7th inning, watch the last 2 innings, head home, and go back the same day and do it all over again.
Are you from actually Boston?
So originally, I'm originally from the city of Boston, and then I grew up in Quincy, which is the city right next door. And I spent my life in Quincy and went to high school in Boston at BC High, and then, like I said, I worked for the Sox until I was, 19 years old. It was great.
It's interesting. I was on social media, and they it was like a YouTube or something like that. And there's a YouTube skit, I think Saturday Night Live, where Tom Brady walks into a sports show, and he's in California, and he doesn't have a Boston accent, but the guy's going, he's talking, you're from Boston, right? But Brady's looking at him like, what are you talking about? And you don't have that real hardcore, like I'm from, you know what I mean? That real
we should get my brother Danny on the line.
Oh,
he'll give us a good Boston
really?
accent. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Put me in my element though, Joe, and when I'm back there,
yeah,
the odds go out the window.
Oh yeah. That's awesome, man. Yeah, so if you would tell our listeners a little bit, because we're going to get into the Boston's favorite, your favorite moments in your lifetime.
Sure.
But before we do get into the favorite Boston sports moments, tell the listeners about yourself, your career, and the firm.
Sure. So, like I said, I'm a personal injury lawyer. I have been working at the firm that I'm at for about 10 years now. Our firm name is Rodden and Breslin. I have two partners, Patrick Rodden and Brian Rodden. They started the firm approximately 30 years ago down in South Philly. So South Philly guys, born and bred, have been Philadelphians their whole life. And really, the firm got its start just helping people from the neighborhood,
the community,
and
right?
The community, and that's really where our foundation lies, and it's grown exponentially from that point. We're a firm that handles strictly personal injury cases, so we handle everything from motor vehicle accident cases to trip and fall cases. We handle catastrophic injury cases, people that might have been injured at work. We handle the third-party end of cases and work with a lot of fantastic comp lawyers in the city. But our goal is to help people, and as I tell people all the time, when you hire our firm to represent you, we will match any size firm, any size company with the skill and resources, financial and otherwise, that you'll need to be successful. And I'm proud of what we do at our firm. We have a great team that works tirelessly on behalf of our clients. And we work with great partners in the healthcare field. Dr. Marcus's group, HealthBridge, they've been fantastic partners. They take really great care of our clients. And together, I think we've had a lot of excellent results, and I think Dr. Marcus can speak to that as well.
Yeah, when someone is involved in a car accident or injured in some situation and they really don't know where to go and where to get the proper treatment, our goal at HealthBridge is always to, effectively assess, evaluate, diagnose, and treat someone. So our main goal in working in the medical legal space is always to get that patient to an outcome that is beneficial for them to get back to working, playing with their children, playing baseball, soccer, whatever they do, golf, so that they don't have these injuries lingering their entire life. And, unfortunately, sometimes these are permanent injuries, and we have to really dig in and figure out, okay, is this disc herniation, this low back injury necessary to refer to neurosurgery or orthopedic? And that's really the key. It's to find the proper diagnosis, treat it, and then also, in addition to that, recognize where my specialty or my skill set isn't conducive to the outcome that we are looking for this patient, and we need to escalate that to, let's say, neurosurgery, other diagnostic tests.
You have a great network.
Yeah, it's all about the network. And, that has always been our focus. That's how we've built our model at HealthBridge. And, the recognition from Matt and other, the legal community has embraced what we've done. And it's really great to see the results that we get for these injured people. And even on the 5-star Google reviews, from the moment they walk in our office, it's critical that we're aligned on focused on patient care, patient experience, and patient outcome. Very similar to what Matt described in Rodden Breslin, his firm.
And you're dealing with potentially catastrophically injured individuals, but also what I loved, and I was on your website, is the fact that you treat all injuries, whether it's a soft tissue injury, no matter what it is. You guys are coming and bringing your A game to a situation like that, because when somebody's hurt, even if it's not a catastrophic, they're still hurt. Correct. And they may still be in a negligent situation where somebody, it may be at somebody else's, somebody else's fault. When you're dealing with somebody who's been injured, how often do they call early enough to where they haven't been taken advantage of? Before they call, because so many people, they try to do things on their own the right way, the so-called right way, and they get taken advantage of on a daily basis, because that is what the insurance company wants.
Well, the best piece of advice that I can give people is, if you're involved in an accident, be it a motor vehicle accident, a fall down incident, an incident on a construction site, contact an attorney right away, because in all likelihood, the insurance company, for the at-fault party, is going to be contacting you. And, I think it's real disingenuous when we watch TV at night. How many insurance company commercials did we see throughout the course of the NCAA
just
tournament,
ridiculous,
right? And you hear taglines like, this insurance company's on your side, or
you only get what you need.
Correct. I tell people and I tell consumers all the time, insurance companies are in the business of making money.
Oh, yeah.
They're not in the business of saving money for you or your loved ones. They're in the business of making money, collecting premiums, and then we hold them to account when people are injured. And that's what we do. So when you're involved in an accident, it's crucially important to contact an attorney right away. And you know, I have my cell phone out there, and I share it with my clients. I tell them to share it with family members, friends, and this is on me 24/7. And so I can't tell you how many times I get calls, 9, 10 o'clock at night, Sundays, Saturdays, 11 o'clock at night. You know, people are texting me, "Hey, are you up? I just was involved in an accident." You know, and I make that clear to people. I'd much rather people contact me right away, even though they think it's too late or it's on the weekend, than stress about what's, you know, what the next step's going to be.
And you actually get it on your cell phone?
Cell phone.
Because sometimes I get lonely at night, Matt, and I need somebody to call. My wife doesn't talk to.
That's why.
So I get that number.
My wife doesn't talk to me either. So.
All right. Well, Joe's tagline is Joe from State Farm.
Hold on. You'll know it's a problem when I go, "Hey, Matt.
What are you wearing?
What are you wearing?" I'd say you said you were funny. I got a problem. I'm never going on that radio show again. But no, it's so important, and we try to educate people. We've had so many stories of individuals not getting to doctors that care about them or anything. You know, when they get stuck in an insurance company situation where they're trying to handle something themselves, and as a lay person, one of the things that an example that I always give, just because I've learned it on the shows, is that, you know, in the city of Philadelphia, you never know how much insurance the other guy's going to have.
Right.
And so it could be, you could find yourself in a battle with your own insurance company, and somebody may call you up, your own insurance company. So imagine, and I'm giving an example, tell me your thoughts on this, but so you get hit at somebody else's fault. They either take off or they have no insurance. Now you do, and we'll get into auto insurance in a bit, but you have uninsured or underinsured motorists. Now you're actually in an adversarial position with your own insurance company. When they call you up and say, "How you doing?" Why would you say, you know, and because a lot of times you have no idea, Doc, how you're going to be feeling in a week, maybe 2 weeks, or even in a couple of days. And so you say that, next thing you know, they're holding it against you.
It's horrible. And it's, you know, unfortunately in the city, you know, we find that a lot of people carry minimum policies. So a lot of them drivers are uninsured completely. And so it's crucially important that you have uninsured or even underinsured motorist coverage to protect yourself in that instance. But you're right. I mean, your insurance company calls you when you're in that situation and you think that they're on your side. You know, they are, under the law, supposed to have your best interest in mind, okay? They're supposed to act in good faith. You pay premiums so that they can protect your interests. But that doesn't happen, and that's why it's important to get in touch with a lawyer right away. A quick story. Individual was involved in a motor vehicle accident. She decided to try to handle it on her own within the first couple of days. And the insurance company, which will go unnamed right now, actually convinced her to sign a release for $500. Okay. Now let's fast forward. She calls our firm. Okay, 7 days after she signs the release, and now we're battling with the insurance companies, saying that essentially they fraudulently induced this woman to sign this release. Okay, she went on to have herniated discs, require epidural injections. She may be a surgical candidate. And we got the recorded statement from the insurance company, the statement that they took of this, you know, innocent victim of an accident.
Sure.
And when you read it and how this insurance adjuster was talking to this woman, "Oh yeah, okay, so you're fine, okay, all right, so yeah, it sounds like it wasn't that bad of an accident. Yeah, typically people aren't that injured in accidents like these with these types, you know." It's horrible. It makes you sick, you know. But again, that happens every single day. So it's crucially important that the consumer out there knows to call a lawyer.
Just to get educated, to get
exactly.
And one of the problems is, especially in the city of Philadelphia, the police don't come to every accident unless it's a catastrophic injury,
right.
Accident. And so what do they do at that point? You know, if most of the time they're panicked.
They're panicked.
But what do you do at the point of an accident? If you're panicked, you get a hold of yourself. You're able to do some things. You call the police. They don't show up. What evidence should you get?
Yeah, you call the police. Obviously, if they don't show up, I always tell clients, take photographs. Make sure you get all the information from the other driver, license plate information, registration, insurance information. And then I always encourage my clients to go and make a report. You can still go to the precinct and make your own police report. So I always encourage them to do that. And that may actually be required in some cases, like an uninsured motorist accident. So there's certain things that I tell clients to do, but the other thing is you need to get proper care right away. You need to go if you go to the emergency room, if you feel like you need emergency care, do that. But contact a lawyer, because not only will we help you and guide you through the insurance business, we'll also get you to a quality place where you can treat for your injuries, and that's where Matt and his team come in.
Doc, talk about that, because a lot of times individuals get caught up in a system before you even get them, and you're not only taking over another a medical situation that's been neglected, but you're dealing with some individuals have been beat up so bad, you got to start from scratch just to get their confidence back.
Yeah, so one of the things I remember when I started the HealthBridge practice 22 years ago is we were seeing a lot of healthcare patients, and we were always getting these calls from people involved in motor vehicle accidents, work injuries. And initially, my partner and I, we weren't seeing these patients, or when the patients would come in, there was always a question on reimbursement, right? And their primary wouldn't see them, an orthopedic surgeon wouldn't see them, a MRI facility or X-ray facility wouldn't see them. So as we developed the HealthBridge model, we realized, hey, we need to educate ourselves on, the reimbursement side of helping these patients. So, we started opening our doors slowly and surely. And our philosophy was, my partners and I, let's just help the patients and everything will work out. And we started to see more and more that if we engage with these patients, help them, got them the care they needed and the outcome they desired to get better after a trauma, and it didn't have to do with a motor vehicle accident or a fall down or a work injury or gardening. It was just about really patient care and getting them the outcome that they so desired to be out of pain. It just grew and grew and grew to the point now where we have the 8 locations. I'd say maybe 50 to 60% of our practice deals with these types of injuries, and for us, it's really just about a great patient experience and an outcome. And now we're set up to help these patients. And one of the things Matt mentioned is, when someone does get injured, the last thing they want to deal with is, when they can come in, do they have insurance, this and that. So our policy is we get them in within 24 to 48 hours, right? And the goal is, from a business perspective, is always treat the patient and get them on the road to recover they so desire to get to. And what we found with the philosophy of patient first care and outcome driven results is that everything works out on the back end. And that's how we started doing a lot, or treating a lot of these people in these types of situations.
Do you find that, and I say this to both of you, because I look at somebody who's been in a situation, and it's medical legal you're talking about, and they're being marketed to people. We all are. We don't even know what we're being marketed. You know what I mean? We don't even, we don't understand. We're not. Why would we understand? People beat you up, and in regards to when you get injured, and not getting the right type of legal guidance. And therefore, if you don't get the right legal guidance, you're damn well not getting the right medical, because there's only one HealthBridge. So in other words, you don't find practices and doctors walking center city streets, I don't care where they went to school, that do this type of work and specialize in risk, in some cases, their entire treatment schedule with the patient. when somebody gets injured on a job, or if it's an auto accident or slip and fall. Having said that, I get the picture that you're a legal and medical support kind of a team, that if it wasn't for specialists that did this type of work, individuals would have nowhere to go, because so many regular doctors, and it could be really good doctors, don't understand it and don't do it.
Yeah. When we started doing the handling motor vehicle accidents or workers' compensation, there was this stigma on what we were doing was not right or not straight chiropractic, so to speak. And, our philosophy and our culture was, we're helping patients. We're helping people who were injured. So first and foremost, our goal was always to get these patients in our practice within 24 to 48 hours and just help them get better. Another thing that we saw was that no one would help these people.
Right.
So, you get this patient that would come to our office after they would go to the ER or urgent care center, and there was no lawsuit, nothing going on of that nature. They just want to get help.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like, Matt Breslin was there helping them and say, hey, you go here, I'm going to help you. None of that. They would just come in and we would just help assess their injury, get them better, and just try and work with them.
Right. I watch a lot of
TikTok.
National. My wife watches that. My wife watches. I got about 100 of them. Right. I'm not even joking. Right.
He saves the right TikToks.
No, I don't save them. I just don't know how to get them on my phone. And if she references them, I gotta be able to find it. Right. And if I don't listen to it or watch it, she'll bring it up in the morning. So it's interesting. But I'll watch National Geographic and the Wildlife channels, and it reminds me, and tell me if I'm in the ballpark, of the little antelope walking in the middle where the lions are, and they're just like literally they're gonna die in about 2 seconds. They have no idea what's going on, and I am not exaggerating when I say that in many cases is how somebody is if they're alone trying to navigate for their, like Doc says, for their own best sincere, their own purposes, without legal purpose. They're just being taken advantage of like there's no tomorrow.
That's true, and I'm glad we just keep reiterating this point because it's so important.
It is. Otherwise, people are they don't want to be litigious,
right.
So they're going to handle it themselves.
Right.
It's exactly. We don't do these shows for nothing, man. I understand, what the stigma is. You're an injured worker. Okay, you got hurt on the job. Let me tell you something. If you don't give notice that afternoon, on Monday, they're going to say you hurt yourself over the weekend.
Right.
That's how much. So it's just a ridiculous type of a situation that people are putting themselves in because they just don't know. And the insurance companies don't mention it when Flo's talking about it in them commercials.
No, they do. They definitely do not, and that's why I think there's something disingenuous about how those commercials are produced and put out there for the consumer. I really do. Yeah,
no question about it. Let's segue a little bit into auto insurance itself.
Sure.
Okay. We talk about this. It's all vital. It's vital when you talk about educating somebody, you have something called PIP. Okay, now for anybody that here in this room that doesn't know what that is, I'm going to give you a little lesson. Okay, I know you're waiting like, oh my God. Now, personal injury protection. How many people? What is that, first of all, Matt?
Sure. So under your insurance policy, you have personal injury protection, and the standard amount of PIP that someone will have on their policy in Pennsylvania is $5,000. And what that does is it protects you and it pays for bills that you may incur as a result of an auto accident, up to $5,000.
That's the minimum.
That's the minimum amount that people have. Now in Jersey, you have $250,000, and that comes with a whole host of other issues that should be saved for another show. But PIP coverage, $5,000 may sound like a lot, but it really isn't.
To me, it's
by the time you are going, if you go to an urgent care or an ER, and you've got And Dr. Marcus would answer this, a few weeks into therapy, and you get a diagnostic test, an MRI, X-ray, CT scan. I mean, a lot of that PIP is eaten up. So it's really a shame that we have, people in Pennsylvania with these $5,000 PIP policies.
But you can get more.
You can get more. You can certainly purchase more. It's an option on your insurance to purchase more. However, when you're working with, a team like HealthBridge, their main goal is going to help the patient. And so, if their $5,000 exhausts, they don't turn to my client and say, okay, sorry, we're not getting paid by the insurance company anymore.
Right.
You can't come back. And so that's why it's also important to work with the right people, because
that's why I said you don't see practices like this.
Correct.
Right.
I can't, and we could talk about this all day. How many times do you hear, oh, I called my primary doctor, or they referred me to such and such doctor, but they don't handle accident claims. Like, I hear it all the time. You know what I mean? These people, they call their primary doctors, the people they've treated with for 20 years. You know what I mean? Oh no, so I don't handle accident claims. And unfortunately, they are missing. They're missing it. I mean, the goal should be to help people, and that's Matt said that's their number one goal, and that's why you have to work with guys like Matt and his team, because we guide them through the process, but we need to know that they're going to be well taken care of, to get better. I mean, that's the ultimate goal.
And Doc, what is the why do so many people not, do it? I know they don't understand it. They may not be set up to do it, but
I think those are the two biggest reasons. You nailed them both. They don't understand it, and they're not set up to do it. A lot of this has to deal with workflow, training up your team, understanding what your core values are, what your goals are. And when it comes to HealthBridge and what our culture is about, is really helping patients. Nothing has changed from what we ultimately want to do, but medicine has changed. When you go to your primary doctor, Joe, is he with a hospital now? Is yours?
I don't think so.
He's a private practitioner. Yeah. How about you, Matt?
So mine is affiliated with Abington.
Right. So as the ecosystem of primary doctors has been gobbled up by these huge healthcare facilities, they make the rules and the doctors abide by them. So, being in private practice and allowing us to navigate on our own and learn as we go, the challenge is as a doctor, as a managing partner, as an entrepreneur, but yet a doctor, there has to be a balance of both. Ours has always been focused on patient care, and we've learned along the way the business aspects of dealing with motor vehicle accidents, things of that nature. So, if your primary doctor is affiliated with a healthcare system and their rules are such that they will not see a patient who doesn't have a healthcare plan, or will not take on a patient who was involved in a motor vehicle accident, guess what? They're not going to see them. So, we've been fortunate to figure out the right workflows, the integration of what we're doing to get these patients in right away within 24, 48 hours, and work with them to get them better and get them to other specialists who understand it. So I think you nailed it. They don't understand it, and then they're not set up to do it. And it's kind of a niche practice that we have here. So,
but what's ironic about it is, especially when you talk about the PIP, and it's just a mind-boggling, that people would not know that. I'm not going to say. I didn't know, for crying out loud. If you have a big deductible, by the way, and your $5,000 is up, you have to pay out of pocket, right? In other words, if you have to use your personal insurance at that point, how does that work?
Well, certainly it becomes quite unaffordable if people have to use their own insurance and they've got high deductibles. Oh my God. You can only imagine what kind of position that puts a lot of my clients in, and that's why when you work with practitioners, you want to work with practitioners who get it.
They're not going to slam the door on somebody who's in bad shape.
Correct, because they're an extension of us, and we are an extension of them, and together, this thing moves forward, and we help a client move forward. And you have to understand that when and you brought this up when you talked about the kind of cases I handle. I handle cases, motor vehicle accident cases, soft tissue injury cases, all the way up to catastrophic injury cases.
Right.
But, one may say, well, the catastrophically injured plaintiff, obviously that's had more of an impact on his or her life. But I have to tell you that when people have been injured in a car crash or a trip and fall or slip and fall, it has impacted their life just as much as someone who's maybe had catastrophic injuries. And,
Sure.
The last thing I want to put on my clients, and the last thing that Dr. Marcus wants to put on his patients, is the financial burden and having to think about how am I going to get better, and at what cost, financially am I going to get better. So, that we want them to think about just getting better and
Sure.
getting to the doctor and doing what they got to do, because life has become stressful enough, just by being involved in the accident. We don't want to have them deal with all that.
So when we come back from the break, I'm gonna touch on something they call full coverage, which is a misnomer.
Full coverage means nothing, as
Yeah,
we'll talk about.
Exactly. I'd like to talk about the difference between full tort,
Sure.
limited tort, and of course, what is underinsured and uninsured motorists. We're going to have more from the HealthBridge Highlight Hour and Dr. Matt Marcus and his guest, Matt Breslin, after the break.
HealthBridge was established over 30 years ago by compassionate chiropractic physicians who understand the physical limitations that come with aches and pains, trauma and unforeseen motor vehicle accidents, and work injuries. With 8 locations throughout Philadelphia, Montgomery, and Lehigh County, our team of doctors are experienced in evaluating and treating all musculoskeletal injuries. At HealthBridge, we provide chiropractic, therapeutic exercise, active release therapy, joint mobilization, core stabilization, work hardening, and numerous other individualized treatment plans so our patients feel stronger, better, and reinvigorated without pain or limitations. With over 750 5-star Google reviews, our team stays focused and consistent with each new and existing patient to guarantee the best possible result. Please visit our website at healthbridgechiro.com or call now to schedule an appointment 833-422-4766 and experience why HealthBridge is the right choice for you. Comfort and Care is your home for prosthetics and orthotics throughout South Jersey and the greater Philadelphia area, serving the region for 45 years. And since 2015, faithfully serving patients from the new state-of-the-art facility in Magnolia, New Jersey. Comfort and Care knows there's more to prosthetics and orthotics than just equipment. They work with both you and your insurance provider to address all of your needs and custom craft the best solutions for you. All of their prosthetists and orthotists are board certified and licensed in both Pennsylvania and New Jersey, with many years of success stories and very satisfied patients. Contact them today, toll free at 888-852-0181 to arrange for them to come see you, or visit them on the web at www.comfortcare.com for information on their modern state-of-the-art facility in Magnolia, New Jersey, and their other locations near you. Comfort and Care looks forward to serving your accessibility and mobility needs and helping you live a life without limitations. That's Comfort Care, KOMFORTKARE. Toll free at 888-852-0181. Online at comfortcare.com.
When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, both of my daughters were pregnant, and everything I was looking forward to turned into everything I was going to miss. First words, first steps. Today, those babies are 3. I'm with them all the time. I don't know what's next, but I know I'm here today.
A Susan G. Komen grant helped pay for Alanthia's surgery, and today she's caring for her grandchildren. Help save lives. Visit IamSusanGKomen.org. A public service message from Susan G. Komen.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the HealthBridge Highlight Hour. I'm Joe Dougherty. Matt Marcus is our host, and I'm your co-host. And Matt Breslin of Rodden and Breslin is Dr. Marcus's guest. And we're talking a lot of different facets of just educating listeners about what to do after you get injured in an accident, but also it starts before that. It starts when you get your policy.
Right.
You could limit yourself not having a clue, because those commercials They don't mention the things we're talking about now, but talk about the difference between. Well, first of all, tell me about full coverage.
Yeah, so I laugh every time I hear full coverage, because when I sign up a new client, I ask them, well, what kind of insurance do you have? And they say, oh, I have.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm good.
Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm good. I have full coverage. And right away I say,
you don't want to go, we're good. No,
yeah, all right, yeah, we're good. All right, let's sign it up. I say full coverage doesn't mean anything. Okay,
right.
In Pennsylvania, you have the ability to choose full tort or limited tort. Right. So if you were to walk through the Progressive, let's just say Progressive. If you were to walk through the Progressive website right now to get a quote, right, they would give you a bunch of options, and under their recommended option, I guarantee
you can actually have a recommend.
Yeah, they recommend options, and I guarantee they will have you select limited tort. And if you don't know anything about limited or full tort, you'll have purchased a limited tort policy. And what you're doing right out the gate, before you're involved in an accident, just when you purchase your auto insurance, is you're limiting your ability to sue for pain and suffering, okay? In Pennsylvania, if you select limited tort on your insurance, in order to recover damages for pain and suffering, we have to prove that you've sustained a serious impairment of a bodily function. All right, it's a higher standard. It doesn't have to be a permanent injury, but certainly a serious injury. Whereas if you select what's called full tort on your auto policy, when you sue for pain and suffering, you don't need to prove that you've sustained a serious injury in order to recover damages. And so there are law firms in the city that just flat out won't take limited tort cases.
How many people don't know the difference, do you think, out of 100?
Of 100, I would say 90% of my clients don't know the difference.
Wow.
And 90% of my clients use words like full
coverage.
Right. And, that's on us. I mean, that's on members of the bar, maybe not educating consumers enough, which is why I like to come on shows like this and educate people, because I can't tell you how important it is. You're already fighting against the giant industry that is the insurance business, right? You don't want to be handicapped, out the gate because you've selected limited tort insurance. So I always recommend to my clients, even if a client comes into me with a new accident case and he or she has selected limited tort, I say, okay, well, unfortunately, you're going to be bound by that selection in this case. But moving forward, I would change your policy today to full tort.
So Dr. Marcus and Matt Breslin, I took a picture of an internet ad about a month ago, and my radio partner, Joe Krause, always says to me, radio is theater of the mind. So unfortunately, people are not going to be able to see this. But here's the picture right here, okay? And in it says, $80 some a month, full coverage.
Right.
Got a hottie on the, hot chick in the ad. And it's talks about it was 160 some, and now it's down to $77, right? Now, that is one of the most if I hadn't done these shows, and Matt, we've talked about this before, and the educated people, I would think, oh, let's call them guys right away, or either that, or if I was single, I'd want to know where I could get her phone number. But the point is, it's just so deceptive,
right?
And people think they're saving, but they're. And I always say, if you're not protecting yourself, my God, at least protect your family.
And that goes back to the other thing we were talking about earlier, uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. That's the other thing I always recommend to clients. You can purchase, $500,000, $1 million in uninsured, underinsured motorist coverage. Say you're hit, right, by a car who's only insured up to $15,000, which is the state minimum, or uninsured.
Right.
If you haven't protected yourself by purchasing that additional coverage, then you're going to be SOL. You really need to learn about what you're doing, what you're selecting, what you're paying for. Insurance, a lot of times people complain about it. It's the monthly bill that people complain about.
Right.
But when you need it, you need it.
Yeah, and it's your family.
It's your family.
Having said that, you mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast community firm.
Right.
Understanding the people and obviously being credible and being a trusted firm.
Right.
How big a part of that is your the business at the firm, referrals from other people who have trusted their lives in your hands because when somebody's in trouble, they're in trouble. How big a part is that community feel in the firm?
Well, I mean that is who we are and our foundation, and that's always been, our lifeblood. We consider ourselves to be family lawyers. We are the lawyers for families. I can tell you, I have represented in some families 10 family members. And we don't do a lot of advertising. We're not on the side of SEPTA buses or have billboards. We truly get most of our business from referrals, from prior clients, past clients, some other referral partners that we have that trust us and trust the work that we do. And like I said, we hold that concept near and dear. I had a client, who texted me last week, and has been through a trying time in his life.
Sure.
We're about to settle his case, and he texted me, late night, like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, and he just said, "I just wanted to thank you because you're always at a very minimum responding to my texts and responding to my calls and being there for me." And I've represented a number of his family members, and I screenshot it and I sent it to one of my partners. And he responded,
"This is what it's about."
He responded, "This is what it's about." You know what I mean?
Right.
This is what it's about. It's about them knowing that you're there for them, there for their family, and that's what we've always been about. And I mean, do you think, Joe, that the attorneys that represent some of these insurance companies
they're not getting calls like
texts or calls at
Although
night?
I would say that probably a lot of the clients would love their numbers.
Sure,
to send them a different type of text.
They definitely would. But that's really what we have become. And we've never lost sight of where the firm started and how it started, and we've never lost sight of the people that we're trying to serve in the community. We want to be the Philadelphia-based community law firm.
Where are the offices?
Sure. So we have like I said, we started in South Philadelphia, but now our principal office is in Center City. We're at on 20th Street, right,
which is a stone throw from South Philadelphia. Right.
We own the brownstone on 20th Street between Cherry and Arch. And then we also have satellite offices, one in Delaware County, and then we have an office in Cherry Hill where we serve a lot of our New Jersey clients.
Dr. Marcus, with 8 locations, you're when you talk about, in a sense, community-based, when you go to your lawyer, obviously your attorneys, those relationships with people are important, obviously, and that's the best type of referrals. You did a great job for somebody. I want you to go see a referral. But you guys are pretty community based yourself. In other words, your locations are growing, and when you go to a place to go to therapy, you could live in Pittsburgh and go see your attorney in Philadelphia a couple times. You could do that.
Right.
Doesn't matter where you live, really. Center City's convenient for everybody, but when you're going to therapy, man, you got to be in the neighborhood. I mean, people aren't traveling across. You live in Delaware County, you're likely not going to Northeast Philly So that ability to have those locations is a community-based situation.
Yeah. So as we've grown our kind of blueprint across Philadelphia and the Lehigh Valley, we've recognized how the community support and getting involved with community initiatives is critical. In the past shows, Joe, we've talked about our community efforts with MTWB, Make the World Better organization. Just want to touch on this.
Yeah.
Matt Breslin has always been involved in our community efforts. His firm, Rodden Breslin, have always contributed their time, energy, and resources financially at our charity events. So I wanted to thank them publicly for being engaged in what we see collaboratively as very, very important work in the community with building parks and recreation, outdoor space. But when you talk about community and you talk about what we're trying to do within these community, there's all different types of people in every community. One of the areas that we've seen such a tremendous growth is the Hispanic community, and having bilingual staff and getting involved in Hispanic initiatives in the inner city and different types of cultures in that community.
Sure.
And embracing everyone, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all from different communities and we're all working in this kind of melting pot
Sure.
of helping people. And I know Matt's philosophy in helping people. It doesn't matter who they are. We got to go out and help them. Our practices, when you enter our practice, everyone gets the highest, the best welcoming, and the best care possible. So, our community efforts have extended not only in our office and right around the blocks in which we're located, but throughout the entire community with parks and recreations, families, fundraisers, community engagement, and we're very passionate about that.
That's interesting. Having that, that type of practice, and when that person at your front desk there, that's the face of the place. And I mean, and I know it happens in HR when you're hiring your staff, but as a partner, Matt Breslin, and obviously as the managing partner, Dr. Marcus, how involved are you guys in structuring that front of the house type of staff that represents everybody?
That's crucially important because we're trial lawyers. That's why we signed up to do what we do, right? So if we're unavailable, we want our clients to always feel like they have somebody they can talk to that's on their team. And so that's why at our firm, we want to make sure that we have people who are answering the phones who obviously are an extension of us, treat our clients like family, like they're supposed to be treated. Competent people who are able to answer questions, people who know this area of law inside and out. Okay, so we educate them and we keep them involved in the process. And we work so collaboratively with our support staff that they know the cases as well as we know them. And that's really important. So, I can't speak, I can tell you that we have some quality staff and they run the show at our firm, and they keep us running and keep it running smoothly.
And you listen, when your wife calls the firm, if somebody was rude to her, next thing you know, you get that call. And I mean, by the way, there's no way to hide that.
Now, and then the other thing too, which I think is works for us, is we don't have turnover. I mean, we have had people with us who have been with us for several years, and that's important. It's important to find consistency.
Sure.
Because these cases can last 2, 3, 4 years, and clients like consistency. They like calling and speaking to the same people, and people who have known their case and know what's going on with their case.
Oh yeah.
And so when you have a staff of that's full of constant turnover and new people and new training, you can quite easily get distracted from what you're really trying to do and what the mission of or goal of your business is. And so we're fortunate to have really great people that work with us. And I say not for us; they work with us because it's a collaboration. And, I'd like to obviously shout out to them.
Awesome.
I hope they're listening.
Doc,
I'm paying them to listen.
So. Right. There will be a quiz when I get back. Having said that, Doc, I had the privilege of meeting some of the partners at HealthBridge. And what I found interesting was, obviously, knowing you and obviously, there's just not enough departments for you not to be on top of it. I get that, but it just seemed like everybody has. We talked about the staff. That everybody's got an area where they really focus on and they care about. Along with that, the comprehensive approach. But that's got to be a great thing to know that your back is, because these businesses are huge. You're in the middle of a case, you're doing all these things, and then all of a sudden, you can't take the business out of it, or you'll be, how important is that to have a team like that?
It's tremendously important. And one of my mentors said to me a little while ago, which it was like an aha moment. He says, this is not an individual sport, Matt. This is a team sport.
Right.
You need a team around you to be successful. And I've always known that in the context of what I was trying to achieve, but he put it so basic in like 10 words. And I'm like, he's really right.
Yeah.
We've always had this approach with training our team, explaining why we're doing something as opposed to just telling them to do something, and really having them engaged in the entire process, from getting a patient set up on the phone, automating text reminders, embracing new technology or innovation so that when you're dealing with someone who is, for instance, in a car accident, automating and sending them the paperwork to fill out before they get to my office, answering their questions, not making it too cumbersome where they don't understand what's going on, and really just embracing what I would call the kind of ease of use of HealthBridge Chiropractic and improving the patient experience. I was at our office at Lankenau Medical Center the past 2 days seeing patients, and one of the things that I really recognized was how great of a job the team there is doing from the patient education standpoint, explaining why it's so important to come into therapy, having them immediately get involved in their care, such as exercising. As soon as they come in, these patients understand what we're trying to achieve. We are explaining to our staff and explaining why it's so important for them to do stretching, exercises, core strengthening, get their chiropractic adjustments. So, you mentioned our team, our staff. Yeah, just to piggyback on Matt's comments, we've had a staff a long time, and we have 16 chiropractors now. And one of the things that attracts more chiropractors or doctors is like, everyone's been with you for so long. I mean, I've only had one job, right? Working with my partner, Dr. Siegel, and Dr. Craven, Dr. Panucci. I mean, in addition to training our team, we've also evolved and became keenly aware of everyone's skill set and the value creation they bring to our organization.
Well, the team effort and
not everyone can do everything, right? So you got to put them
exactly in a position to succeed.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, and Matt, listen, you've got two partners, the chemistry there, the team atmosphere,
right?
That kind of breeds success. And how do you guys work it? In other words, is it a different compartmentalizing different areas of the practice, or does everybody kind of just oversee everything?
Well,
or do you just do it all, man?
No, we work as a team, and we each recognize that we have certain strengths, and we try to take advantage of what our strengths are and deal with each case individually. But we find, more often than not, that all three of us, have our hands in the pot, so to speak, on these cases. And collaboration is so important.
I was going to say, that must be great.
That's the beauty of a partnership. You can bounce ideas off each other. You can you can strategize together. You can deal with certain personalities better, perhaps, than your other partner can. And so that's the beauty of having a great partnership. And we've developed more than a partnership. We're really like we're like brothers. We're like family. The two of them are brothers, but I feel like we've come close to that point. We've become like brothers. So that's really important in running a business and really servicing our clients. And during these COVID times, it's been increasingly challenging because our office has remained open, our physical office has remained open, but certainly with some remote work with our staff and even some partners from time to time, communication has been key. So having regular Zoom meetings, going over things. Just keeping each other updated, constant communication, that's so crucially important. And, quite frankly, I've learned a lot from Matt, because we're outside of this professional relationship, we're great friends as well. And so, he certainly shares a lot of what has made his business successful. And that's something that we try to work on in our business as well. So, it's great that we have this relationship because, I think it just breeds more success.
Yeah, I'm learning a lot. I mean, I don't have the same luxury at Dougherty and Dr. The other Dougherty's, the managing partners at getting Botox right now and spends a lot of time at the hair salon.
Yeah.
So, it's and she's the managing partner. So I'm taking notes and I'm going to go back and say to the other doctor, but I don't want to fight yet. So I'm trying to get that chemistry. She's not. She is getting Botox now, and so I know she's not on. Listening right now. So I'm good. There will be an edit in there. If you would, Matt Breslin, contact information at the firm if any listeners want to get in touch.
Sure. So my phone number is obviously listed there. Our office number is 215-940-2155. RoddenLaw.com. I can be emailed mbreslin@roddenlaw.com. And certainly, as I tell all my clients, I'm available 24/7. So if you need me, you'll get me. And if you can't get me, you'll get one of our great staff members or another one of our partners. So.
Awesome. What are you wearing, Matt? I'm just kidding.
I'm actually wearing khakis.
Khakis? You're wearing khakis, just like the commercial. Dr. Marcus, if you would, contact information at HealthBridge.
Yeah, you can look at our website at www.healthbridgechiro. That's healthbridgechiro.com. You can look up our 8 locations there. If you ever need to get in touch with me directly, it's Dr. Marcus, Marcus, at healthbridgechiro.com. We're always available. Our offices are available 6 days a week. We have evening hours. Please check out our reviews online, and hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Listen, guys, phenomenal. We're setting the bar higher and higher every week, but a lot of fun.
And listen, I know Matt wanted to have me in sooner, so I appreciate Connor Barwin filling in for me.
He did.
Yeah,
it was tough. He had big shoes to fill, and but
yeah, I'd also like to thank Matt Breslin for coming in. I appreciate his support over the years, his friendship. We've got made some great synergy, helped a lot of people over the years, and again, he's been a great friend, and I look forward to working with him and his entire team over the next 20, 30 years.
And having said that, what I love about your team and the individuals that surround, it's all about giving and giving back. And the show with Connor Barwin was no different. Your associates, it seems like everybody gets involved in the community outreach, and it's just a great thing to be a part of. I want to thank everybody for tuning into the HealthBridge Highlight Hour with Dr. Matt Marcus. I'm Joe Dougherty. Matt Breslin of Rodden and Breslin has been our guest. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you.